So I begin with a short trailer of what's to come for this. Okay. All right, so I begin my presentations. You might have seen some of these footages. And you see here, this is myself in the lab. And exactly what I'm wearing now, a piece of Google Glass. So let me first start by welcoming you to this seminar. I will say, OK Glass, take a photo. Take a photo. Did you hear a sound? Now an image is appearing in my eye of you. So today's seminar is about innovating with IPOV, vivre en émotion, une expérience d'apprentissage mixte à travers mes yeux. Êtes-vous prêts? Now, today's presentation is very interactive. So I'd like all of you to take out your phone, okay? And dial 8210. Okay? All right. Okay? Yeah? 82, this. What do you hear? What do you hear? Okay.
My voice man.
Okay, now, what you notice is when I ask you to dial, what do? Nobody actually dial. In fact, you all press. But why do we say dial and we know that we are calling somebody? Because it's of a historical reason. In the past, right, a dial means you have a plate, a circular plate to rotate. So what I'm trying to say here is to dial a number now is about pressing on a panel. It has shown that in the past we have transformed our technology so quickly. Calling a phone, the information transfer. So all of us have seen this phone. I've used one before when I was young. Now, do you recognize this on the right-hand side? For those who are maybe 25 years and above, anybody could recognize this?
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, which part of it? It is the pad, right? The number pad. People used to change it, and 8210 is the most popular Nokia phone 15 years ago. Now, nowadays, people change the cover, the screen. It's all a panel. But in the past, people like to be, very funky. They changed the color of the typeface. So this was done, by French artists. I think you have seen this in the 19th century here. They were saying that, right, you can grind books, right, and information could be transferred to students, right, through the brain by some way. We are not too far from here because right now, in fact, 10 years ago, we have podcasts through the radio, through the music, and also through now the flipped classroom, right? Video online lectures by Khan Academy. So what is in the future? The first part of today's presentation is on IPOV videos for Flip Pre-Lab. I'm doing on experimental chemistry, more on experiments in the laboratory. So I try to do a flip way before the class so that students have more confidence when they're actually doing it for the first time. So TEBO stands for Technology Enable Blended Learning Experience. For me as a teacher of chemistry, I really think that experience is very important. If it's positive, students cannot forget. Who recognized this? Olema, oui, half the class, very good. What is that? This took me a lot of time, when I was young. Counter-Strike, very good game. People still playing now. And we have table tennis for sports, and also, for war, everything. So this was my motivation some years ago to start to build this in educations. Because these games could get our interest, right? And we can spend whole day playing it non-stop. There must be something intriguing about it. And if we can build this into our education, we can hook our students to be interested in learning. So this is called the instructor's point of view, IPOV, and we have done research that psychologists, Green and Bavaria, shows that, they have a control group, non-gamer group, and gamer group, and they play different kinds of games. Those playing first-person shooter games against those playing non-first-person shooter games, the Tetris, it has improved their scores in skills like visual attention, that's very critical in driving and reading. And I try to assimilate this in the laboratory where we operate expensive instrument. For instance, my friend there, he's operating the recorder. It's highly expensive, so you don't want students to screw this. Now, to give you a better background, IPOV means it's first-person view. Third-person view is you need an extra cameraman, like right now. So why did I use it? In my lab classes, I would like students to have a very realistic first-hand experiences of what they're going to anticipate and see. Because most of them come from different high schools and they enter university for the first time, they are very careful, sometimes fearful. Asian students are very afraid of failure and making mistakes. So they go to the lab, they read the manual and they say, okay, should I do this? They ask the teacher, yes, you do it. But you don't learn that way. For me, I tell them to try. But again, there's a limit to how much they try. Now, giving this video here, we will give them some assurance that, okay, this is what's going to happen, and even some teachers make mistakes too, so it's really fine. It's just to assure them. So, a bit of background of this term here by psychologists and educationists. Jean Piaget, il est français? Is he French? Or Belgian? Okay, very famous. Egocentrism, let me just define for you. It says that it is the inability to untangle subjective schema from objective reality. That means people cannot see the perspective unless it's from their own. So a child has difficulty seeing the viewpoint of others. What it means is, in a traditional video, when you shoot it at the right angle, students who go to the laboratory for the first time, they won't get it because it's not their view. You see what I mean here? Yeah. And on top of that, there is this cognitive dissonance here. They would think that why I was learning this way and I experienced something differently. It doesn't overlap completely, and it will impede learning in that way. Now, when we apply egocentrism, we are trying to improve in these areas about perceptions, imitations, and mental imagery that all has got to do with instructional kind of teaching. For instance, in the lab, in cooking, when you operate the machines or instrument. And the other great philosopher and educationist, Vygotsky, he proposed that the environment which the children grew up will influence how they think and what they think. So if we just have a normal flip video that's PowerPoint based, right? This is not what they will see when they are learning in the real time. So again, it's a bit of mismatch. And another psychology thing I try to use is encoding specificity principle. It means that when students learn it in the same environment and they do testing in the same environment, they perform better. What it means is, if now I'm teaching you IPOV right here, you learn something today, and I'm giving a small test next week, but in a different location, not the atrium, maybe in block 33. you won't perform so well compared if I put the exam here. Yeah, it's very subconscious. So this IPOV is trying to develop students right in these areas, the attention, the sensations, perception, and memory for learning in the laboratory operations here. I'm trying to expand the kinds of skill they can do without the guidance of the instructor live, without any hand-holding or babysitting. So the backgrounds of these modules trial for this IPOV, they are all mainly laboratory modules for second year and third year chemistry majors in the undergraduate level. So they do 1 full day of 6 hours laboratory lab continuously, once a week for 13 weeks. And before that, there's always a lecture for 2 hours. We give briefings about the background of the theory of the experiments, about safety, all that. And we thought that, at least for myself, we can use some kind of a more intriguing videos to make them learn better. I also tried at the bottom right side here to use this Google Glass and the GoPro camera to record in my class. Because when I teach a small class like this, right, sometimes it's not recorded. There's no facility. And students have other things to do. They miss out my class. And how I ensure that they can still learn and catch up. What I do is, okay, let's say I teach and I just record from here. They can see what I'm recording. I'll show you that this is not very good in the end because the GoPro, this device, is very sensitive to the light environment. It's the best for outdoor. Like you saw just now in the movie, outdoor is the best. Indoor, the effect's not good. Now, so what I did was I wore this on my forehead and on my chest. And I teach normally in my small classrooms. And guess what happened? Nobody fell asleep. Because everybody knows they're recorded, Yeah. So after that, I saw my footage and I see that because I need to face the students and I need to teach, sometimes, right, facing students, there's a bit of privacy issue. And also, no need. Why do they have to see their friends, right? I just need to see what I'm writing. So I put the camera onto a student at the back. I let him wear it because he's facing me, right? And guess what? I look through the video and I hear gossips. They speak about me, or other friends. Yeah, so it's quite a fun experience. So I find that this IPOV view might not be good for normal kind of classes, but excellent for a laboratory setting. Now, this GoPro here, I did a perception survey, and this is published. What I would like to highlight here is, if you look at the statement in boxes here, the GoPro videos improve my confidence in conducting experiments of the actual day and improve the ability, the skills to operate instruments and machines on the actual lab. The last bit of the video you saw just now, it was worth $1 million. It's called the nuclear magnetic resonance machine. Huge magnet is very expensive. We could have said, it's too expensive, don't touch it, don't learn, or we can guide them a bit better. The area is very small, so I'm trying to bridge this learning. How do we facilitate them to have a better experience when operated with confidence? So nobody disagreed that this first-person IPOV view is good for learning. Now, I'd like to talk about failures because we can learn from mistakes more than we learn from successes. I tell you all the good things, so what do you do with it? So when I tried, I put here on my forehead just to get a better view. I'm a bit on the tall side like a European, so our head, although sometimes return a bit, but in the video it's very fast, so it's not clear. On the chest, it's much better because we don't shake our chest, right? In the classroom, however, it's not from our eyes. The objective here is really from our eyes, what we want them to see in the actual lab. So as I was bending down, the view is wasted, it's missed. While sitting down, this is not good. This is great, it's facing the front, but I would like them to see my hands above. You see, it misses out on the view. So GoPro, there's some limitations. This is from my eyes, from my forehead. Yeah. Again, you see the top view, but not the entire view. Now, comes the result from the assessment. In semester 1, my colleague did it without GoPro, normal, live teaching. In semester 2, I did a flip teaching using the GoPro IPOV kind of view. And it seems that for experiment A, there's a huge improvement in the scores. People who can score higher. Now, if you look throughout, you might think that, wait a minute, for B and D, it's just comparable. In fact, for C, it dropped. But if you take a closer look, I examine closer, experiment A is the first class of the lab. And what we teach students is how to operate instruments. For instance, how to use a camera, how to use a fan, how to use a recorder, anything. Robots, imagine. Experiment B, C and D is about like cooking. How to make a drug, how to make vitamin C. You add chemicals and then you boil and you watch. Things can be unexpected, you have different outcomes. So for this kind of teaching, it might not be very good. Okay? You have any questions, you can ask me anytime. So the conclusion is, the GoPro mounted on the forehead is a better view because it's closer to the eyes, but it's very shaky. On the chest, it's very good in the lecture to wake up students. They'll be very alert, but there's some privacy issue and it's very dim. So GoPro is not good for capturing the recorded classes for the teacher, but it's good for lab. So after this, all the lab classes were used using the IPOV for pre-lab. So maybe here we have your participations. Anybody here fear using technology in educations? There's some teachers say, I believe, right? Yeah. Do you use education, technology? Christy?
Yes.
Yes?
Using keepers, for example.
Yes.
But very few compared to sure.
Okay. So I've opened this channel for you to type it in. Anybody? What do you think are the fears of educators? Because I know that one of your role is to encourage the teachers and professors, right, to use them. If you can go to this URL, that's very easy. You type todaysmeet.com/SU 2018. So I will start the ball rolling. You can use any nickname, any funny name. I will type my name here. This is my real name. I say join. And then you see here, please use only your given name or nickname. But this is my given name. They don't believe it. So never mind, say, hello. Okay? Yeah. So please put down, you think your fears. What kind of hesitations you have, or you think your friends have, that's stopping educators from using technology. Okay, I'll come back to my presentation now. In part 2, so that was quite a success, although not much, but it was a good start using GoPro. And I got some grant to buy a piece of Google Glass that I'm wearing now. The device, right, it is similar, but it's much more stable. Because instead of a forehead, now it's right through my eyes. It's clearer, and on top of that, it has a function called live streaming. What it means is, suppose I have a class here and all of you are doing something on your desk, maybe making some molecule, cooking, okay, individual, and a student asks me, okay, is it salt first or pepper first, okay? And then after he's done, I go, and all of you might have the same questions, and by the end of half an hour, there's no more time. I may not be even there to answer the question, it's gone. It's frustrating for everybody. The same question as well, maybe the teacher will do the same for 20, 30 students. So I thought that if I'm able to teach the students, answer, and all of you, as you do, put the phone by the side and see and listen to what other friends have. Say, oh, I may not be alone in having the questions. Students are very afraid of appearing stupid because that's what they hate asking questions, because maybe the friends think that they're not very smart. But if you share it in this way from the teachers, that these are things that other friends have, they feel much better. And everybody learn from each other. So these are some gap here. We only have one teacher, but maybe 45 students in the whole laboratory. Very big place. There's not much time. And also, we are solving some problem here. Of course, we have some teaching assistants who are PhD students, but they are a bit junior, and students might not want to engage them. And these PhD come from different nationality. They have different, maybe languages, and also different habits they took, which is different from what the lecturer wants them to adhere to. So the students may say, lecturer says this, but the teacher assistant say that. Who should I believe? They don't feel good that way. So how do you have a unifying instructions? Maybe it's best coming from a lecturer. So this is how it like. The teacher wears it and operates. And then students who do not have the nice phone can also watch it inside the lab with a TV. Okay? And this is again using the psychology principle called encoding specificity. So this is live. Some technical aspects for this device here. I have a touch panel, so I touch here to activate. OK glass, record a video. So it's really hands-free and I can just do naturally and talk and it's recorded. So it doesn't affect my movement as I'm teaching. Okay? Yeah. And I tap to stop. The only,
Sorry,
yeah, go.
can you see it?
Yeah, I can see what I'm recording.
You can see what you're recording.
Yeah, live.
Okay, wow. And does it, is it okay for you? Does it not catch too much of your attention?
No, because to look at my screen, I need to look a little bit up like this.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very subtle.
Okay.
Yeah. Only after you record for maybe half an hour, this gets really hot. It's too hot, maybe winter is okay, but such hotness such that you feel like it's going to explode, like a battery, so you're pretty scared. That's all. Yeah. So these kind of videos I don't make very long. Maybe I observe students, he did something very good. I go there and praise him and say, oh, you did a very nice work. And what do you do? It's recorded. Everybody can learn what he did well. Or maybe you make a mistake. Then I say, okay, you shouldn't be doing this, right? And then everybody says, okay, I shouldn't be doing that. So we learn from mistakes of each other. So the students who are very good, they like it because if they're so good, they won't learn. But they learn from what they're not supposed to do from others. So it was really captivating. So they're really intrigued and engaged. They really go to live and see and appreciate it. And at the end, we do some assessment. Now, all these are very positive except for the one I'm going to highlight, okay, the not so good. So if you look at statement 5, not a lot of them think that it won't disrupt their concentrations. Imagine they're cooking and learning. They have to be focused on another device here to look. So they're a bit distracted. They won't like it. Imagine you have different materials to learn. People don't want to lose, right? They want to take everything. Yeah? So the only downside for IPOV teaching for live streaming is that slight distractions for the students, which may not be good. But again, you can see that this improves their confidence. They can be more assured when they operate. They can learn from their friends. And they appreciate it. So the conclusion is everybody can see what the lecturer is doing. They won't be blocked by anybody when he or she is doing the demonstrations. And it could be used as a real-time tool for distance learning overseas. When maybe people in Asia, Africa, or America, they want to see your lab, how it's like to operate, but they can't be here with you. So these are my students. I would like to thank them for being a part of my team here for this work. You can follow me here for more updates for projects. I would like to collaborate with you. I think I'll come to France a bit more often in the near future. Yeah, it's good to share knowledge. So thank you very much for your time.